me start with a scenario which everyone or almost all of us are familiar with. A company launches a product. It has all the right ingredients, an adaptogen, magnesium, a biotic, or even, something which can, a good controlled release delivery system. And it has a great story, great effect. And when after 3 months, the reviews are split. One batch says, oh, it made my life. The other batch says, I don't find any difference. And that is actually mood health for us in cognitive health. Different stories, variability, and that is why it is very important to get all the right ingredients plus control delivery systems with the mechanical stack ready. And this is where we kind of, focus today. Why we are seeing mood health as a gateway for cognitive health, and followed by what are the different ingredients in terms of actives, in terms of delivery systems, and in terms of mechanisms which we are noticing, and also what we can expect in the next 5 years in terms of innovation ecosystem by itself, and what we see as some of the success stories of companies who have launched these products and what will work. So let's start with why we are talking about, mood health right now. So again, mood has become the gateway for cognitive health, because not only because it is kind of, essential, it actually shapes the way how people feel and perceive cognitive health products, because it is reality. And what the effects are going to be there, it actually kind of matters on everyday life, be it for stress or for sleep or for, vitality and so on and so forth. And that is why when we talk about daily performance, mood health or mood becomes very critical when we talk about cognitive health products. And then the next thing, when we talk about consumer demand, consumer is no longer kind of, okay with a solution that, okay, you will feel better down the lane. They want repeatable, they want trustable action and outcomes. And that is why the market is also kind of resonating with it. And we see product launches or product even kind of undergoing trials, which are ensuring or which wanted measurable as well as repeatable outcomes. And again, when we talk about consumers, we no longer talk only about retail consumers. There is a growing influence of high healthcare professionals, even wellness programs run by employers for their, companies, and even some of the practitioners who are advocating OTC-wise mood health supplements. And that is why when we talk about consumers, the consumer base is also expanding, and their influence is also actually trickling down in the choice of products. And that is where when we talk about HCP or, wellness professionals and other things advocating for mood health products, substantiation, safety, consistency of products become very critical. Again, we are in Europe, so the claim space is actually narrowing, especially when we talk about botanicals or use of adaptogens or use of ingredients like mushrooms or even certain biotics. So when we talk about claim space is also narrowing, and that becomes a positive, also a challenge for formulators when we talk about developing a success story. And again, the last thing which I would also want to talk about, evident hype transition. If you look into the products right now, in mood health, everything has the same formulation. Ingredient sameness is what we call it. Everything has a magnesium component in it. Everything has a biotic. Everything has an active. And so to a certain extent, everything has some controlled release system. So when you have the same type of ingredients, product differentiation matters. And that is where your mechanism, your substantiation, your outcomes, and even to a certain extent, the safety protocols becomes a key differentiator for your success story. So when we talk about different types of, innovation ecosystem, what I would like to propose is something different. You choose the mechanism first, and then you match the active as well as the other ingredients, including delivery system, and then the enabling stacks. That will make our lives easier and also will give you credibility in terms of product formulation. So let me just talk about stress. These are some of the mechanisms which we see are gaining in effect, or in terms of companies are interested in, be it in R&D or filing patents or even looking into. So the most popular or the most debatable or even the most researched is stress reactivity and recovery. And it is not only a single biomarker like cortisol. It is a series of biomarkers which will talk about not only lowering stress but also ensuring that you don't have those spikes every day. The sleep architecture is also very critical because sleep architecture actually impacts the other mechanisms. When you get enough sleep, your stress comes down and you are able to get stable energy, and your gut-brain signaling improves. So sleep architecture has become a backbone of mood health. And when we talk about sleep architecture, it is not only AM, PM recovery, but it is also continuity and latency for that matter. Again, when we talk about fatigue, inflammation, and to a certain extent gut-brain signaling is actually maturing in terms of, the mechanisms, because we see a lot of products which are investigating the gut-brain signaling nuances and how there are going to be different metabolites which can impact these gut-brain signaling axes and in turn affect your cognitive health. The other thing which we are talking about is also the energy biology. No longer consumers want those spikes and crashes. They want stable energy and steady energy throughout the day. So that is where this mechanism becomes critical, and the choice of active becomes very important when we talk about mechanism. So once we have the pathway nailed down, then we match it to the ingredients. So what I have done is actually divided the actives and the ingredients into three main things. One, which we are actually seeing in a lot of product launches as well as early commercialization. The other one, which is more R&D intensive, and when companies are looking into trials as well as formulations, and what we also think as some of the key systems which will make a difference in the future. Of course, magnesium forms and theanine logic still are prevalent, apart from adaptogens as well as mood-based botanical extracts, which are leading and which have been a part of a lot of products right now. And then the other interesting concept which I wanted to talk about are the emerging psychobiotics and postbiotics. These are very interesting because it not only takes care of the effect, but also it kind of reduces the supply chain as well as the product ingredient variability to a certain extent. So that makes it very interesting. And again, medicinal mushroom extracts are something which are being investigated quite a bit, and it is transitioning from some of the indigenous systems which we look into in terms of Eastern as well as Asian medicine to mainstream product formulations, especially from the research front. Precision polyphenols as well as terpenoids as right now an adjunct, but it can potentially, if proven clinical efficacy is established, then it might become some of the interesting concepts for you. And why precision fermentation and bioconversion? It's more not from an ingredient angle, but more from a pathway, and it will kind of reduce the vagaries which we see in terms of quality as well as ingredient availability. And also, when we talk about enzymatic tailoring, this is a concept which can actually help in, getting your effect right in terms of tailoring the qualities which are needed in the ingredient. And again, a lot of very nascent academic research and R&D papers is what we are noticing in enzymatic tailoring as well as booster systems. But there are also interesting partnerships with academic institutes with some of the well-known brands which is happening, which actually makes this particular enzymatic tailoring or even bioconversion something to watch out for in terms of cognitive as well as especially in mood health. So when we have the ingredient approaches, again, these are going to be the ingredients which a lot of companies are going to choose. Probiotic or a postbiotic or even a psychobiotic. So what will actually make a difference is your enabling stack, the delivery systems, your controlled release systems, be it microencapsulation or be it lipid carriers or even enteric protection or to a certain extent even the dual phase release systems that will actually help in providing the consistency as well as stability for the formulation. Again, processing also matters, so that the ingredient viability is not lost. We see a lot of, bioconversion process or supercritical carbon dioxide extraction or even green processes being investigated, which can actually is quite benign in terms of preserving the ingredient qualities. Again, when we talk about process control, we also see a lot of influence from the pharma industry here. We are talking about inline PAT process control style processing being employed or even investigated in pilot trials for some of the mood health products. So when we have all these enabling stack nailed down, we have a product which has a proven mechanism, which has a pipeline and also the correct ingredients, as well as an enabling stack which can actually help in differentiating our product in terms of others. Again, so what we see are the next 5-year outlook for the mean. Again, the key message which I want to convey is that in the next 5 years, what we have to do is not select the ingredient first, but select the effect first. What is the outcome you need? And then we have to protect it through designing the process and then making sure that there is stability as well as substantiation. What we notice is that there is a gradual shift of the mood space into two different groups. One is going to be the commodity blends, wherein you have the standard probiotic or the standard biotic with an adaptogen. And then there is also going to be the evidence-based platforms, which are going to be the winners, wherein you are going to have a compelling outcome, trust, as well as channel access. So what companies have to look into is that the trust or the channel access or even the evidence-based system is no longer an afterthought. It has to be integrated within the R&D itself. And R&D and strategy has to be designed with the credible claims as well as outcomes. And that will actually make our channel access also easier. So as we go towards evidence-based platforms, we notice that there are going to be fewer, I would call it probably, kitchen sink formulas. So there is going to be a infusion of psychobiotics, infusion of beyond magnesium belase blends, and then even mushroom extracts to a certain extent apart from the species which we are going to do. And then there is also going to be clear use case products. Products which are very specific for AM calm focus or PM recovery or gut-brain stability, and stress as well as sleep is going to be the forerunners when we talk about the use case products in the next 2 to 3 years. Again, as we go along, we also notice that there is going to be infusion of modular systems wherein the boosted architectures which can help in allowing titration without adding any complex processes or post-processing processes, that is going to be critical, and that will also help in making companies emphasis on endpoints which can be aligned with the mechanism and which will also make the claims reporting easier. So this is where we see the the transition of mood health based products as well as R&D in the next 3 to 4 years. So what we think are going to be some of the points which companies has to look into. And this is based on a research on, research on all the product launches which in the last couple of years, as well as the R&D which has been conducted by companies which include ingredient suppliers as well as product developers. So these are some of the key points which we notice are common in terms of all the successful product launches, at least till now. The first thing is, again, safety by design, and that include not only standalone interactions, but taking into account the interactions of different ingredients with its different effects. So when we talk about sleep is actually the architecture for stress, for gut-brain signaling, and so on. So those kind of interplay is also something which we have to take into account when we design the product, and hence safety by design becomes very important. So again, repeatable evidence, that is critical when we talk about the expanding consumer base and when we have healthcare and OTC related product launches. And a lot of companies are talking about OTC segments even though they are not in OTC. So that is why pilot signals as well as conducting human studies at least for 8 to 12 weeks becomes critical, and that will also help in establishing our claims in terms of the European law. So this is something which I would probably want to highlight. we have to have OTC discipline with nutraceuticals plead. So that means that no flashy claims, no flamboyant claims, which again, the cases and the litigations in the last couple of years have proven that it has to be taken very seriously. So we are talking about conservative dosing logic, as well as what is going to be the contraindications and side effects of the formulation which we are developing, and also talking about adverse learning loops, which is very common in OTC segments and pharma segments, which is upcoming in our nutraceutical segments. And this will help actually when we talk about a successful product launch, especially in terms of cognitive health or even mood health products. So to summarize, what we have to do is put R&D first. So we decide the archetype early, and then we engineer the active delivery and then build the quality moat, as well as embed all the safety protocols and the design, so that we can build a product platform that can actually survive not only the regulatory scrutiny, but also enable customer trust. So that concludes, my summary of what we are noticing in mood health, especially in terms of cognitive product type. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And in case if you want to have a chat later offline, these are our email addresses. Feel free to email us. Yeah.